maybe.
Now we're live. Good
Now
morning.
we're
Welcome to
live.
Greencow. It's a beautiful day
Good
here in Chicagoland,
morning.
and we've got an interesting topic today. Let's see. Are
And
we
there
all
we
set?
are. We are all set. We got to go ahead and click here, though. All right. So as always, say hi. Let us know that you're with us this morning. If you're watching on the replay, give us a hashtag replay. Let us know that when you're watching, what you're doing. We'd love to hear any good news that you have to share today. It could be good news about you or just something that's going on in the world. So.
And of course, what kind of coffee you're having, or tea?
I'm Panera again. My new habit is working out really well. So
I have my gift mug from Carla today.
See, but you drink hot coffee. I don't drink hot coffee. I only drink iced coffee. Even when I'm cold, I only drink iced coffee. I'm weird because
There's
yeah.
something in that.
I don't like hot drinks really, even when I'm cold, unless I'm really, really cold. And then I'll drink a hot drink to get warm. But yeah, I don't, even though I mostly tend to be cold.
Did anybody understand that?
You know what? Whatever. So good morning. Please say hi. Let us know that you're here. Let us know what you're doing. If you got some good news to share. Like Lee said, it is a beautiful day today, and it's supposed to be a really beautiful week. Next week, it's supposed to be a little colder and rainy, but it's not supposed to get really cold.
There's some rain in our future here too, which is good. I mean, this is that time of year.
We had a thunderstorm, a little thunder. Some people had thunderstorms. We just had a little thunder and a little rain.
It was interesting thunder. It was different.
Yeah.
It was
it didn't.
It's more
seem like
ominous sounding.
Sounded like a truck at first.
Yeah. Morning, Mark. At first, I thought it was some kind of an explosion.
You know, actually, a lot of people did, and a bunch of 911 operators got like a whole bunch of calls about an explosion, which was thunder, because it's now spring, but people don't like realize that. I think this probably happens about every year, but I saw on one of the Northwest Indiana pages that the 911 operators were being flooded with calls about an explosion.
I didn't call 911, but it did sound like some kind of explosion.
So Mark won first comment today, so that's great. But Mark,
good morning, Don,
you need
KJ.
Mark, if you won first comment, and Don and KJ, you guys too, but Mark, I think it's obligatory since you were first. You need to share. You need to share something good that's going on. So give us some good news today from you. Just anything that, but now he's here. Fleetwood Mac singing Fleetwood Mac songs. Thunder only happens when it's raining.
It didn't rain here. We had thunder without
rain.
We had
rain. You know how I remember this?
Drops.
Because I was going out to my car and it's raining. And so you acknowledged that it was in fact rain.
It wasn't real rain.
It wasn't real rain. It was fake rain. You bought it over at the store. It wasn't real rain. He was just standing there with the hose waiting for me to come out to my car. What is that? Oh my goodness.
Yeah, that's what it was.
All right, I'm gonna be a little bit more careful around here. All right. Well, Don said it was a weird sounding. It was a weird sounding thunder for sure. Mark's on his CCR now, so they became Creedence Clearwater Revisited, and it just went downhill from there. With the new band, different people. Yeah.
It doesn't even count.
It doesn't work. Yeah, there's a lot of bands like that though. Trying to capitalize off a name, but CCR records are a few of the ones I had for my record player. I used to go to vintage record stores when I was in high school and acquire weird records in other ways. Sometimes people would give them to me because they knew I collected them. And
there was a record store in Hagwish. I don't know what it was.
There's one in Hobart. We
used to say Hobart or Hobart?
Sherbet or Sherbert. We're not going to start that today. It's not what we're here for.
There's only one R in Sherbet.
I don't even want to go there. Word pronunciation.
Okay.
There was a really cool secondhand store in Chesterton. It was in one of the old train stations, and it had cool stuff like records. And there actually is another one now too. It's a resale store that has some cool records, but I don't have room for collecting all that kind of stuff anymore. So
Good.
Yeah. All right. Well, good morning, everybody. We have 5 people watching. We've only had 3 people say hello. So that means that there are 2 of you out here that are preferring to stay anonymous, and we would prefer to know who you are. So say hi, let us know that you're watching, and let us know some good news that's going on in our lives. Your life, everybody lives, I can't even say that. We're going to stop. We are here today for Business Chat Wednesday. So what are we talking about, Business Chat Wednesday, guy?
Fear and loathing.
Hey, Stephanie. Good morning. Thanks for being
Stephanie.
here. Stephanie had a really cool home church Easter thing with an egg hunt and everything this weekend. We went to it. It was pretty awesome.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. We
cool.
had an Easter egg hunt. We also had a kickball game.
Nice.
Yeah, that was cool. That's a tradition.
Well, since I'm now fearing you because I'm not sure if you're creating fake rain. Yeah, I don't know that I would participate in that. So good morning, and tell us about fears.
It's a question. It's all about what is it that you fear in your, let's keep it right now to your business world, I think.
Mm-hmm.
As a business owner or an entrepreneur, or even as a wannabe, somebody who's considering starting some kind of a side hustle or something, what is it that you fear about jumping in 100% into this?
This could be your nonprofit organization too.
Could be
Maybe
anything,
it's something that you're thinking about creating. We got to wear awesome, by the way. So thanks, Stephanie. So
we'd love to hear from you and talk about some of these things that you fear, because chances are pretty good that other people will share your fears. And I can talk about some of the fears that I've experienced in the past. I have since let go of, I think, all of them, but maybe not.
He's advanced. I'm still in the intermediate course.
Well, that's just because I'm twice your age. Anyway, we'd love to know what it is that jumps into your head when you think fear as it relates to your business or your proposed business or whatever.
Yeah.
That would be a great discussion, I think.
So
and as I mentioned,
comments,
other people are likely to share those with you.
Yeah.
So put something in the comments. And if you don't, I will reluctantly share some from my past.
Since it takes a minute for comments to pop up, we'll share some things. It does. But you guys can also message me if you want to share it privately. I have my messenger open. So if you have an anonymous fear that you'd like to talk about, you can throw it into my messenger. I don't know if you know where yours is at the moment. But my messengers, that wasn't very nice. I'm sorry. But you guys can throw it in my messenger if you want to talk about an anonymous fear. I'm now even more afraid of Lee. But I think it's a good topic. So throw it in the comments or send me a message. What are some things that you fear? Or that you did fear when starting your business, your organization? What are some things you were fearing? So
perfect, Stephanie. Thank you. Going all in, and the idea doesn't sit well with others, and it becoming an epic fail. So there's the fear of failure there. You want to start something new, and you're afraid to dive in because what if people don't like it?
Yeah, I think that like it doesn't set well with others thing is
Oh, some good comments coming in. Good one from Mark. Too.
Yeah, that's I think that's really an important thing to talk about because I think you can almost separate those two things, like the fear of being an epic failure and the fear of not coming, like you're not resonating with people, because there's lots of reasons.
Feed on each other.
They do, but I think there's lots of reasons that your business or your organization might fail. Like, you know, there could be many things that would cause that.
Yeah.
But like the fear of just not really reaching the people that you want to reach, or like that. I
love this one from Stephanie, because by pulling in the reins instead of going all in, you're much more likely to make it fail. And so the thinking there is valid, because it's a feeling. You know, I'm afraid because if I go all in and people don't like it, it's going to fail. I get that. But, and I don't want to sound harsh here, but it's kind of backward thinking. What if you went all in and people didn't like it and you failed? Well, you learned something. But what if you didn't go all in and people didn't like it and you failed? You just don't know, because you didn't go all in.
You don't know if it was that people really didn't like it or that you just were holding back. Yeah, I think too, like, what is actually failure? You know, is it, I mean, we fail a lot and then it's just a learning experience.
Exactly. And that's a phrase that people use, but it's really, really important. If you fail at something, there is a lesson in there. There's always a lesson in the failure. And so getting accustomed to learning what it was, identifying first what it was that failed, and then learning from it so that you can try again is hugely beneficial.
What is it? Thomas Edison, he said, I just found 1,000 ways it didn't work.
Yeah.
It didn't fail. I just found 1,000 ways didn't work. Yeah, Stephanie says fear of failure is almost failure within itself. You have to try. Yeah, if you're not really putting everything forward, if you're not trying, then, you know, you probably aren't going to get anywhere.
So Mark brought in statistical.
Yeah. I was just going to say, when Mark said his comment, I was going to say the money nerds are here again. Hi, money nerds.
It's a statistical truism that the number one reason that new businesses fail is undercapitalization.
Oh, and Nicole's here. She falls into that money nerd tribe. And I'm only saying that because they call themselves that, just so you guys know. Like, I might call you a nerd, but I wouldn't call anybody else that, because you guys call each other that. So, but hi, Nicole.
Was
Thanks
that
for
an
joining
insult,
us.
or
Maybe just a little bit. I'm a little more afraid of Lee. By the end of this broadcast, I'm going to have to be running out of here. But yeah, Mark has an important comment, and it's a serious comment as well.
Okay, I want to address Mark's comment about undercapitalization, because I've been there. I've had businesses that were undercapitalized, and it's rough. You know, sometimes we start things that we're not ready to start, and that almost assures us that we're going to be undercapitalized, because that's, you know, one of the things that we don't necessarily get in place. But it's not necessarily easy either. I mean, there's all the normal stuff, you know, getting help from friends or family, or loans or credit cards. I mean, there's a zillion different ways to capitalize something, and I think I've used them all. But having enough money to get to a little bit of momentum going is hugely important. And if you're unsure about things like that, somebody like Mark might be a great person to talk to. On the other hand, if you have plenty of money, and I've done this too, plenty of money to start a business, but you don't really pay attention to the business because, hey, I got all this money sitting here, that's a mistake too.
Yeah. I think anything where you just say, I have all this money sitting here, so I don't really have to pay attention to if I'm spending my money, that's not good. Because then your money won't be sitting there for very much
That's
longer.
right.
Mark taught me that, you guys. Sign up for his budget boot camp.
Yeah.
Mark, you have another good comment there about business owners must manage risk. I think we all need to manage risk. I mean, that is
Well, I didn't see
true
that
about, he talks about, the pain of going all in and failing can be really difficult. And that's true. There are some coaches out there that, when you say, and I've worked with some of them personally, so I know that this is true, but you might say, hey, I'm struggling. I have a problem. This isn't working for me. I need to do something differently. And they say, oh, you're just not trying hard enough. You're afraid of failure. You have self-limiting beliefs. And it's like, okay, some of that stuff is sometimes true, but when you're, there's sometimes I think that's used as like a way to tell people to just keep moving without making like actual calculated decisions and like strategy, and that's not good either. So I think you have to be careful about that. There's a difference between fear and what's the word I'm looking for? Like decision, like making good discernment almost. So it's not like, that it's okay to say I'm specifically not going to, throw all my money at this thing because, I need to, it's not a good idea right now. My research has indicated that it's not going to work well for me. And time, the same thing, all kinds of things.
So all this leads to the importance of understanding what it is that you're doing before you do it.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to get in this camp of I'm stuck and I don't want to make a mistake, so I'm not going to do anything.
Mm-hmm.
That's a huge mistake. Better to do something and fail, learn from it, and start over than it is to overanalyze until you just lose interest.
So we talk a lot in this on the show about people who kind of just like go with the flow all the time, instead of like making calculated decisions about their lives and realizing that they're not happy where they are and making a decision to go somewhere else. They just kind of ride the waves. And we've talked about how that's not the best way to do things. If you're not happy in your job, if you hate your job, if you go every single day and you absolutely hate it, but you just keep going because that's what you do. You just keep doing it. And when you lose that job for whatever reason, you just take whatever offer happens to show up because it's just there.
That's living on autopilot.
And a lot of people do that because of fear. That's a problem, I think. That's where you're letting fear step in the way, not saying, there's a difference between that and then saying maybe even I'm going to choose to work in this job that I really don't like for the next 3 months, or I'm going to choose to work and I'm going to try to have the best attitude possible about it, but I'm going to do that so that in 3 months I can do this other thing. I can start this business, or I can move to this other position, or I can move to a different geographical location, whatever it is. Sometimes you're going to be doing things you don't like, but there's a difference between saying I'm living on autopilot because I'm really afraid of stepping out and doing something new. There's a difference between that and just I'm going to do something I don't like for a while. I'm going to make a decision I don't really enjoy. I'm going to live above the Papa John's or, whatever it is so that I can achieve something. There's a difference between those two ways of thinking. And if that makes sense, I don't even know. Sometimes I ramble.
Well, it does make sense. Fears come in all shapes and forms. And Nicole says, I can't hear the word pivot without thinking of
It's Friends.
Ross on Friends.
Pivot?
I saw a couple of episodes. I don't think I saw that one. Anyway, great comments, and thank you all for your participation here today. All these comments will serve to resonate with other people who see this on the replay and people who are in the community. And it's super helpful because they see that Hi, Tracy.
Morning, Tracy. Thanks for joining us.
They see that people have these experiences with fear, and we're all still here. Well, all still working. Many of us have pivoted in one way or another.
You said the word. Somebody find a GIF of that and throw it in the comments if it'll let you. You can count on me to distract us all.
That's why communities like this are so important. They serve the people who are interested in trying to do something new and different and world changing potentially, and it make it a little more comfortable to fail.
Mark had a great comment here. He said, if you're not getting the results you want, it comes down to one of two things: your plan's not working, or two, you're not working. Too many coaches shame us into number two when number one is the problem. I think that that's true.
I have seen that.
In lots of cases. Yeah. But let's also look at...
of course, I've also suffered with number two.
Yeah, that and two, if that is the case. So let's talk about that for a minute. If your plan's not working, sometimes, Mark, I want to say maybe your plan's not working yet also. We have talked here before about forming habits and, doing behavioral habit. So much is behavioral, like when we think it's not. Mark does his budget boot camp. And when you think about budget, you think, well, it just comes down to the numbers, right? Well, like there's so much of that that's really behavioral, right? Same thing with like dieting or, pretty much any kind of habit that it's behavioral. And so sometimes you might think, okay, my plan's not working, but it's just not working yet because you're still working on developing those habits. And you're almost there. And so I know that I've suffered with like the throw up my hands syndrome. Like, none of this is working. I hate this job and I hate all of you.
Well, I'm glad that you didn't just directly, aim that at me.
No, but just saying, like this, we all have that moment where we feel frustrated. Like I hate this thing. I'm frustrated by this thing.
We don't hate.
Well, we have those moments where we feel like that, and sometimes I think it's important to look at: is it my plan not working? Or is it just that I'm halfway there? I was having this discussion with myself a few days ago. Yes, I know.
I said.
Don't start with me. I can see it in your eyes. But
you can talk to yourself. That's perfectly okay. And you can even answer yourself. Mm-hmm. But if you catch yourself saying, huh? Then you've got a problem.
All right. I was having this discussion with myself, and I was thinking, this place is half a mess. I still have halfway to go. And then I was thinking, but that means I'm halfway there. I've cleaned up half of it. I'm halfway there. And so sometimes I think with our plan, we have to ask that, like, is it that the plan's not working, or is it just that we're still getting there? Maybe we need to make tweaks or whatever that is.
But I have yet to see the perfect plan right out of the gate.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to need to be adjusted.
Sure.
So
many of us, and I know, Mark, we've had this discussion before too. So many of us think, okay, I'm going to create this plan for whatever it is, and the plan it has all the perfect things. So I'm just going to use like the meal planning thing as an example, because I think we've probably all been there. So, all right, I'm going to eat, healthy stuff this entire week, and I'm going to go to the store and I'm going to buy healthy things, and I'm going to buy healthy meals, and that's what I'm going to do. And it's like, yeah, you were eating McDonald's 6 days a week before this, and now all of a sudden you're going to go become like Top Chef, and like, there have to be steps, right? And so I know one of the things, because I've dealt with a lot of like trying to eat at home. That's a challenge for me. So I'm going to stop going to McDonald's and I'm going to make frozen pizza on this day. Like that's a step, right? But so many times when we first create the plan, we have like the ideal plan, but it's not practical. Very few of us could do that. And so if your plan's not working, I think we look at if you're, is it just that it's not working yet? Do we need to make tweaks? Do we need to just keep going? I'm on day like 6 now of the Paneras, guys. No $9 at Starbucks and buying food that I don't need, going to Panera for my coffee.
Cool.
Getting there.
So good comments coming in. I want to recognize a couple of them. I think Stephanie correctly identified that a lot of this has to do with your mindset and positive and negative thinking.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with that. She had to do lots of research to discover inner barriers and fears that we should not allow to stop us. It was so eye-opening, I had to write a book about it. I mean,
she did write a book. She's an author.
We want to know about this book. Exactly. I mean, thank you for writing the book on this, because it is those barriers and fears that we should not allow to stop us. I mean, we shouldn't do that. Mark says plans need to have check-ins and deadlines. I agree with that. And without these, he says your plan is a goal. I think it's more of a dream than a goal, but I get that. I mean, the system of developing a business has a lot to do with planning and setting goals. A lot of these things can be done at the same time that you're actually developing the business, which is good because
it has to be
they will
cases.
Change. Yeah, everything changes as you go. But yeah, check-ins and deadlines are super important, and also celebrations. When you do something that really works out well, don't forget. Let me change that around. Remember to celebrate.
Mm-hmm. Just like we talked about on Mindset Monday. So this is a shameless plug for our Live with Greencow Mindset Monday on Mondays at 9 a.m. So you guys can come to that. But we talked about celebrating when you catch yourself in one of those growth moments of like experiencing growth mindset. So that's pretty cool. So celebrate those things. I think the biggest thing for me, part of that mindset thing is that you don't want to dwell on the fear. And so many times I think, I don't know, for me, I almost saw it as responsible to dwell on the fear. Like you have to keep thinking about this thing you're afraid of so that you can make sure it doesn't happen. But that is usually a great way to make sure it happens.
Exactly. So what you think, I mean, if you think about, I don't want to get in an accident driving to work today. I don't want to get in an accident driving to work today. I don't want to get in an accident driving. Chances are much better that you're actually in an accident.
So for me, it really was a financial thing. You know, I've been at the point before where I was like so broke that I couldn't even buy like my groceries. I mean, I had WIC and all this kind of stuff. And so, I mean, I know a lot of people can resonate with that. It seems like almost everybody has been at that point at some part of their lives. And so for a long time, I don't want to be broke. I don't want to be broke. Like I want to make sure that I gotta make sure I don't lose money and all this stuff. And so I was so distracted by that I wasn't really making good choices. So a lot of times I just have to kind of remind myself like, hey, you're doing the right thing here. Like, you know, you're following the system, you're following the plan, you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. You know, and that's actually how I have to say that to myself for a lot of things. So most of you guys know that I have pretty rampant ADHD. And so one of the things that I do, if you don't know that, talk to me for 10 minutes and I'm sure you could come up with a diagnosis. But
don't label yourself.
Well, in this case, I'm labeling myself because identifying that allowed me to come up with a lot of tools that helped me to be more successful. Never
mind.
So I use a time blocking system, and sometimes I can run into this. I don't have enough time. And I have to verbally say to myself, hey, just follow the plan. Like, just follow the plan. And I have to remind myself to follow my plan. Because just like if you're afraid to go all in because of fears, you never really know if you would have succeeded or not. If you don't follow your plan because you create your process, you create your plan or your system or whatever Mark was calling it for whatever area of your life. And then you don't follow it because you're so afraid of something. You're never going to know if that plan actually would have worked. You know, you got to follow your plan to see if it works. So when we said something's wrong with your plan, the thing that might be wrong with your plan is that you're not following it because you're scared that it might not work, or because suddenly you think something else is more important.
So does that make you a number 2?
Does that make you a number 2? Like the not working?
Yeah.
I don't know, but I think it's actually a number 1 because your plan isn't. Yeah. I think that it like makes us.
Like
we're doing the puppet things again. We did that one time. We had a huge comment on here, and he was trying to be serious, and I was just like shadow puppeting over here. But yeah, I think I don't know that it's not, maybe it's distraction or something like that. Because that's another thing too, is that we'll create plans. And Mark, maybe you can speak to some of this too. We'll create plans, and then suddenly something will pop up into our minds that we think is super important. And we'll think, oh, we can't follow the plan because we have to do this important thing.
Oh, no.
But the plan is there so that you don't do the important thing, you do the plan. Like, I mean, not saying, obviously, if your child's in the hospital, like, sorry, guys, I'm supposed to be swimming right now. Like, you can't do that. But, I mean, most of the time, the thing that we think is super important, we have a plan so that we can handle those things. And so if you're not actually following your plan, you don't know if your plan's working or not. So I have to really, I verbally have to remind myself, I have to look at my calendar and I have to say, what are you supposed to be doing? Like, follow the plan. This is not your plan.
Well, this is good. I mean, it's good for me too, because the whole Greencow thing is lacking some plan.
We have some plans.
We have plans, but I could do better with that. I mean, I used to be really good with business plans, and I still know how to do them, and I can help other people create them. But it's kind of like the cobbler's shoes thing.
Yeah, it's just like with resumes, right? I write resumes for all kinds of people, but when I had to write my own resume, I had to have somebody else help me with it because it's really hard to look at yourself. Which is why, we've talked before on here about the importance of mentors and coaches and therapists and how those are all, and friends, and how those people are all important. And they all do different things, and having all of them at some point of your life, maybe not all at once, sometimes all at once, can be beneficial, because sometimes when you're not following the plan, it's helpful for you talk to somebody about figuring out why. Mark had said, this is the whirlwind. So urgent things that we need to work on. The whirlwind stops us from achieving our plans. Absolutely. I used to call that putting out fires. I was constantly putting out fires. And
you became a great firefighter.
I was a great fire putter outer. And also that would give me a super boost of I feel so good about myself for putting out that fire, that I was just bringing more and more fires because I would feel good about putting them out. So, where's the next? I wouldn't say I want another fire, but every time there was a fire, I could put it out. It felt good. So, I was attracting a lot of fires, and I had to really get into more of the planning to stop that. And I'll say, even Mark, you're working with me on some plans right now for my financial stuff. And sometimes all it takes is, we had a conversation a couple of weeks ago where you just had to very clearly tell me exactly what to do. It was just so overwhelmed at the moment. Okay, I get what you're saying, but I'm sitting here, I have some money. Where do I put it? And how do I do that? Do I need to go to the bank? Can I transfer it? How does this work? And sometimes you just need that. You need somebody to detail it out for you. That might be a reason why your plan isn't working, It might be a time thing. we have a couple of organization coaches that help with that. Your plan might not be working because you're not organized. You might have a health issue that keeps interfering. It's important to figure that stuff out, I think.
Mark correctly identified, in my opinion, this make-spend cycle. The more you make, the more you spend, until you change the cycle, until you make a difference. I had a friend who he made 7 figures and he had almost nothing to show for it. And he said, I didn't buy any planes or trains or boats or anything. My organization grew, but all the money just evaporated. And so until you change that cycle, it doesn't have to be 7 figures. It can be 6 figures or even, whatever you make. If you have a habit of spending it all, it will go away.
Yeah, I think that's really true. And it's the same thing for lots of different issues. And when you bring it back to the discussion on fears, I think sometimes that's where fears come from, is that we have these experiences where, maybe we spend it all as soon as we earn it, or, maybe we tend to get into eating stuff we shouldn't eat and then we feel bad or something like that. It's just what we've been used to do. So instead of actually planning, we fear about it. We have this fear where, okay, I got some money, I'm really scared, I don't want to lose it. And then, but we don't do anything to like actually identify where the problem was and how
that's
to
a
fix
good
it.
point.
So,
I hadn't thought about that, but I've done that.
Yeah, I've done that a lot. But that's, so when you have a fear, something somebody taught me, I know it sounds a little woo-woo, but that's okay. You can just keep your opinions over there. Your opinion is crossing over to my side of the desk. Keep it on over there, please. But I can't remember who taught me this, but somebody said to thank the fear, because a lot of times that is your mind or your body, from a psychological and physical perspective. Like, we have fears, so that, and Stacy could probably talk to this more, but she's in California, so you just have fun over there, Stacy. She's behind us right now. But we can thank the fear, because oftentimes that's your mind or your body, like, trying to keep you safe, right? Like, animals are fear things so that they don't get eaten. That's why it's like the fight or flight thing, right? Like, that's where fears come from, to try to keep us safe. So somebody taught me to thank the fear and say, like, hey, thanks for pointing that out. And but I think I've got this. I have a plan, and I'm going to stick with the plan. Or to say, got to figure out why I'm fearful of this and how we can solve the problem. So again, I know that sounds a little woo-woo, but it was something that was helpful to me, because fear in and of itself isn't necessarily a bad thing all the time. You can have a fear if you're walking down a dark alley and you have a fear suddenly and you feel like you need to get out of there, and do that. That's probably a good thing. Some people call that more intuition, but I think, like, fear of it in and of itself, that isn't bad. It's there as a preservation mechanism. But we, as being higher thinking beings and not just like a bunny, we kind of internalize it sometimes, and that's not good.
Okay. I think that fear comes in a couple of main forms. It's either a healthy respect for, or it's I'm afraid of. Mm-hmm. And so I choose most of the time to think healthy respect for fear, learn mm-hmm. something from it and move on. But there are times when I'm afraid. Usually it's a physical thing, mm-hmm. Like I'm out in the middle of the ocean.
Here. Yeah.
Opposite of fear is wisdom, but biologically your body can't tell the difference. We can ask ourselves, is this fear or wisdom? That's an interesting thought. The opposite of fear is wisdom.
I mean, you hear about stories with people who are like, I mean, you've probably been in a situation where you're afraid of something and you get like a huge adrenaline rush, and that is helpful. Sometimes to give you strength or clarity to get something done that you maybe otherwise wouldn't have been able to do. You hear stories like that about like people lifting cars and stuff like that because they get a huge adrenaline rush. Again, I think this would be a really cool topic for Stacy to take on. She's kind of our resident therapist. But again, she's having a good time in California right now. So
That's good.
We won't call her and say you need to come on the show, but maybe she will come on the show soon.
All right, people. Well, I think
we're 10 minutes over, 9 minutes and 52 seconds to
It was
be
a
exact.
good conversation today. We have good conversations here all the time. This is awesome.
We do. So if you want to continue coming, we're Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 9 a.m. You can find us on my profile on the Greencow page and in our Serving and Succeeding group. If you're not a member of that group, you can click the link to join that. If you are interested in having your name, business, nonprofit, whatever on the screen.
Or if you just want to sponsor a big flower up there or something.
You have your art up there too, Yeah. We have a lot of artists in here. So if you're interested in becoming a sponsor, it's really affordable. We'd love to talk with you about that. We've had some really good results. Our sponsors have had some really good results with people contacting them. And there's also fun other little perks with that we'll tell you about that are actually really cool. Including coming on these shows. If you're interested in that, click the link and you can book a call. If you'd like to talk with either of us about growing a business or changing careers or making a move in your career, you can click that link and book a call. We'd be happy to talk with you about that. And I think that's all in my spiel.
Okay, thank you for the spiel. So make this a great day. Do something really nice for somebody and a whole bunch of people if you have the resources to do that. And we will talk to you on Friday, if not
Career
before.
Friday. So if you have thoughts about your career, come to Career Friday.
Okay, that's all for now.
All right, bye.
Bye.